Ooh, time. A ultimate weapons ultimate, man. What a fight. It's so interesting to look back at Uwu and understand that it's it's such an interesting fight, you know what I mean? I like try to really picture it frequently because whenever I do it, it always seems so intimidating when you step in. But a lot of people consider this one to be, the easiest one. I mean, I don't think so, but it's interesting how this fight is designed. So, all right, let's get straight into it. Starting off with Garuda. So it's funny. I understand the history of this phase because the very first time I actually encountered this fight as a whole, because I did Garuda Extreme, right? And I was like, oh, like it's just Garuda. All right, easy one, I got this. And then again, I didn't realize that I it was an ultimate, so I was kind of puzzled by it. So the first time I went into Ulu, I went in as Dragoon. I had no idea what to do. It was like a, you know, like a like a fresh party, and I didn't study, and we were dying like crazy, and I was so confused, you know. And at that time, like Uwu had already been cleared. I just didn't know what was going on. So Garuda is, man, I've played Garuda phase with every job possible, and I think it's cool. It's the, you know what's really cool as well though is the first time that you encounter like the realization that it's got like the puzzle, with the awakening and the enhancement stuff, like all that. I didn't really like think about it at first because at the time I didn't have a clue, but now I understand it even more than ever before. And I got news. I'm a Uwu fan, especially with Garuda. So Garuda, great phase. It's cool. I like it. It's very quick and it's very like again. It's heavy, right? But when you're going through it, and even as I playing tank and like both main and off tank, the only problem is when you have to deal with the opportunity of AoEing. Like there is so much opportunity to do so much damage, and depending on what job you're playing, really changes that quite a bit. And I think on top of that too, the sisters and the whole like tethering and neurolinking, or not neurolinking, sorry, that's you got Mesohai, right? Like that whole spiel. Like I really enjoy that a lot. It was really cool to know that Garuda is like the requirement for even much later on mechanically. You know what I mean? So the fact that like you have to hold on to, what is it? It's like 4 or 5 like Mesohai one buffs for the whole fight just to get to phase 4. Because if you don't, it's literally unclearable sort of thing. I think it's really cool. So I think Garuda good phase. I like it. It's really fun. Ifrit, man, the transition with Ifrit is very cool as well. I like that he appears, all the radiant plumes, and kind of scares you. I almost wish though that they would one-shot you even as a tank. I mean, they one-shot you if you're not a tank. But I think that if you were a tank, like it should still like one-shot you. It doesn't. You don't even. It doesn't like you can really play any tank and then use like your short cooldown and like live it, and it's like totally fine. But that being said, though, Ifrit, cool phase, man. I really like how, again, it's been tried and tried again, like just endlessly to kind of keep it as organized as possible. I'm a fan of it. I just feel like it's another phase where, you go through it not really paying attention sometimes, and it just has the opportunity to like, it's just there, right? But Ifrit's cool. I mean, I'm a fan of it. I like the nail thing. The whole pattern of like the Z nails order to break it to kind of force a thing of where the clones appear. I almost wish that wasn't like the rule, but it's also cool that it was discovered that that's how it works. So I'm a fan of that, and I also like that the puzzle to activate the nails and awaken Ifrit is done by using the explosions on the nails. I really like that was thought of. So honestly, Ifrit pretty good phase, and yet it seems so short. I put him in B. I mean, Ifrit's always kind of been the punching bag, unfortunately. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but it always kind of is. Ifrit's alright. I'm a fan of him, but I wish that he had a little bit more of like an oomph to it. And but again, same ordeal, right? Like he's kind of necessary for the. And also, people like to skip the Ifrit dives. If his health pool prevented that, then I think that would have been really cool to always deal with not skipping the dives. If you can always do the Ifrit cleaves, I would have been a big fan of that. But because it's skippable, it's kind of like, oh, like the phase is over before it began. Titan. Hey, Titan is incredible. Titan never ever fails anybody. The hanging at the wall to wait for the jump down and then appearing south and then then immediately like pulls up a giant double buster and then forces the jumping thing. I really love Titan. So Titan phase is always so crazy. It's always chaotic and it's always fun and it's really really cool to execute when you have opportunities of doing stuff for like uptime's sake. I'm a really big fan of doing Titan stuff. The only thing that I don't like is the freaking melon. Honestly, like the melon thing is the first one and only time you ever need to like figure out what the jail order is. Not a fan of that at all. Genuinely, like with the melon thing, I'd actually put Titan down here. But I think because of just the way how the fight is designed phase-wise, I'm a really big fan of it. So I can overlook the melon. I've done it without it, and I'm a fan of being able to like use my brain to know, where to go, how to go, and what to do. Because the one time I had it, like the jail, but there wasn't like a thing, was when I was playing off tank, playing Dark Knight, and I was paired with, and I think the jails were like, it was like a healer and a range or something. They were smart enough to actually position as well to have the range go to the back, the third one, the one closer to the one that's going to pop, healer in the middle, and then I was in front. And we all maintained the necessary uptime to do our damage and also get into jails on time and then like get ready for the tumults. I really enjoy that people have the ability to use their brains like that without necessarily using it, but the fact that it's so heavily reliant on like that is, again, it's like a little unfortunate. The thing is, I don't even know how the melon works, where you get it and how you use it. It's just unfortunate that like it's like a huge necessity to even like progress to the next phase. Because honestly, like Titan would be, actually not even Titan, just Ubu in general would be a very hard ultimate specifically just for Titan phase, because people don't have the timing to get into this position for the jails. Like I really wish that there was a way to like have it be possible to do what you gotta do, but again, I just think that it sucks that people rely so heavily on it. So alas, here we are. But Titan still no longer, not a bad phase at all. Incredible phase. Absolutely love Titan. Now we get to some of the good. The LB spam transition into Ultima is really cool. I like that you have, like, the fact that you're required to have certain jobs role-wise listed in for the fight to even like progress to the next part, I think is one of the coolest things that they've ever done. So I'm a huge fan of how they enable your ability to like use LBs to even get into Ultima, because you literally need like you need the caster one, then you need the healer, then the melee, and then the tank. Like I love that they do that. And the fact that it's not like a cutscene and you can kind of run around and do what you gotta do, kind of shows you that, like, sometimes I feel like when people were doing this the first time through, like you just had to, you could just like park it and sit there, but otherwise you did have to actually use your brain and like do stuff. So again, it was really cool to see that kind of come into place, if you will. So I was a really big fan of watching the LB spam transition into Ultima. I actually would be cool if they did more of that. Which we do find out in later Ultimates for sure. But I'm a really big fan of when LBs are necessary in certain ways and methods to actually allow sequencing into future Ultimates. So big fan of LB transition. I think it's good. I'm a fan of it overall. So honestly, like fire mechanic in its entirety for Ultima. Predation up until untargetable Ultima after the tumults. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is right before the okay, cool. Predation is a really cool trio. Personally though, I have an issue with it And again, I think that this is like a step that was overlooked by the dev team, and I almost wish that it was something that required like a lot of more mental effort by the players, because you just gotta find wherever you gotta get away from Garuda and get away from Ultima, and then look for like the fourth rune thing. I actually really like, hot take, I actually don't like that. I don't like that it's something that you can kind of, for lack of a better thing, is like cheese it. I'm really not a fan of that at all. So it's cool that you can execute it and everyone is willing to execute it. I mean, I do too. So again, double-edged sword. I'm being hypocritical of it, but I wish that there was a way to change the fight, even though it's an old ultimate, so that you had to do it correctly. Because I do believe that there is a correct method to how to do it besides the whole like fourth rune thing. I feel like you have to um, look for Ultima and avoid him. Then you got to find Garuda and stand like, what's the word I want to think of? I want to say it's like intercard of her, and then you have to be wary of where Titan is to avoid his double tumult or his double landslide, and then you got to look for where Ifrit is. So I feel like if the dodge was more appropriate towards dodging Garuda and Ifrit, then that would be cool. Because right now it's only you got to just dodge Garuda and then just be away from based on where they spawn. Now I don't know, right? I don't think that it's deliberate to find the fourth rune. I think that's just like a step that they kind of overlooked. So I think what you're supposed to do is avoid Garuda's Wicked Wheel and then go in the wheel, because it's going to do the chariot and then the dynamo. So you have to go into it, but you have to also dodge, what is it? You have to dodge, like the Crimson Cyclone plus, which kind of implies that you have to be at an intercard, and then dodge Titan, right? So I think if that was the way that they did it, then that would have been really cool. But I think that the fourth rune thing is like really annoying, so I'm not a fan of it. But that being said, though, Predation is still pretty decent. I like the execution for it, and I also like that they have the I mean, and we gotta also talk about what happens afterwards, right? With the the pulling the boss north thing, and then the baits, and then the like landslide that comes from Ultima, and then the Titans, and then the whole like Buster situation. I'm a fan of that too. So, but I think that Predation, I mean, the rest of that is really cool. That would go in A tier, but I think Predation as an execution mechanic, it's pretty average. So it's alright. Like, it's cool. I almost wish it was actually harder, if anything. Like, it was not able to be cheese again, because I consider this to be like a cheese. I'm not a fan of cheese mechanics. If you can like cheat it in a sense, I'm not like a fan of that. So just like as like a heads up. Annihilation. I like Annihilation quite a bit. I think Annihilation is a step up, because I like that it's something that, even though it's very straightforward in terms of how to execute it, I'm a fan that the whole time Ultima is targetable and can be damaged. I like that a lot. Whenever there's an opportunity to do a trio mechanic that also allows you to do damage in a sense, I'm a really big fan of that. So Annihilation is really, really cool. I like it a lot. It's very fun. So honestly, yeah, incredible mechanic. Honestly, I'm even more likely to put it up here as a result, because like I like it. It's very short-lived, but it is very, very cool to be able to execute it. But actually, what? I think no. I'll respectfully keep it down here. I like how incredible it feels to go through it, but I gotta respect the mechanic as a whole as well. And like it's good. It's very, very, very good. Like, it's a very good mechanic. So Annihilation is very cool. Then there's Suppression. Suppression is it's cool. I'm a fan of it. It's trying to think about like what really like. I actually like when you have to figure out. It's honestly, it's very fun when you're doing it as like a DPS, But I think everything else is kind of like, because the supports just have to go to the healers, go behind the tanks do their thing, like they don't care, and then the DPS gotta, figure out who doesn't have the light pillar and or the jail or the fires, and then they gotta, you know, figure that part out too, which is really cool. So it's funny because it's not really easy to figure out who has light pillar. It's weird execution, but I am a fan of it regardless though. So suppression's good. I like that there's a jail thing, to break the jail out, and then when the Mezzo High Tether comes into play as well, you need like the one tank, the MT that has the one at long last. Their use of the Mezzo High is specifically for that mechanic. I think is really cool. I'm a huge fan of it again, so I think suppression is fun. Good mechanic. It's really cool. Primal Roulette, including Etheric Ruins. Now the LB1 cheese, I mean, I don't think it's a cheese per se, but I don't know, because like tanks will still die if the. Actually, I don't know. I don't really know how to perceive it because I like. UWU is my least runned ultimate out of all of them, but like it's cool. I feel like Primal Roulette is still yet like another victory lap, if you will, in a sense. It's kind of hard to understand it, but and again, like where you stand and where you go and how you do things is still in like the same little section of like north and northwest corner. But still, it's cool. It's cool. I don't really have much else to say about it because it's kind of straightforward. There's not really much to like talk about. And also, I think that due to the damage check that it has as well, like you can easily defeat Ultima before you even like get to the part where of like enrage. You know what I mean? So like it's like you don't really have like a lot of the shakies. It's not really too crazy, I would say. So like Primal Roulette is like it's like fine. Like it's fine. It's nothing like crazy. But I mean, that being said though, I still like the feeling of going through that part. I just wish it was a lot more like chaotic if anything. So but yeah, there you go. So there's UWU, and then tune in next time. We'll check out too. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.